12 of the global elite who are behind this insidious global annihilation project. But thanks to you, Alex, and the rest of the hosts of the GCN network, we are got the new world order on the run. Death to the new world order.
Wow, you really have got your act together, and I had seen what you just pointed out yourself. People asking James Bond movies based on a lot of real things that happened or similar things, at least the earlier Ian Fleming ones with Sean Connery. You know, why does Spectre openly wear the Spectre or Hydra ring on their finger? Because it's important to throw it in your face. And how do they operate? Creating chaos, order out of chaos. What do they call the Al-Qaeda forces? ISIS, crisis, and asymmetrical warfare. We are seeing them hit us with asymmetrical warfare. What's your background? You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Well, I also am a meted learned man of the law, like your first caller that responded about Dr. Frederick Graves of the jurisdictionary. He's one of the people I study with also.
So are you a Mason?
No, never been affiliated with the Masons. My grandfather was 32nd degree, but that's the closest I ever got.
No, I know. There's some good groups of Masons that are aware of all this. They're fighting it behind the scenes, and they use terms like what you just said, learned, student of the law and things. Very interesting. Call back again. We've got a special guest coming up, but what you just heard from that caller was pure veritas. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield, true nascent iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund INFOWARS.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.
The InfoWars crew has spent a lot of time in South Texas on the U.S.-Mexico border. The InfoWars crew is now documenting the ties to Rex 84, Bilderberg alumni Rick Perry, and FEMA camps in South Texas.
There may be a number of people who cannot be prosecuted for past crimes, in some cases because evidence may be tainted, but who nonetheless pose a threat to the security of the United States. In our constitutional system, prolonged detention should not be the decision of any one man. If and when we determine that the United States must hold individuals to keep them from carrying out an act of war, we will do so within a system that involves judicial and congressional oversight.
Reassuring words, but completely fabricated. Because if and when Obama or the next puppet declares the suspension of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they will hastily invoke Executive Order 11921, which provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the president, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency will assume control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and the flow of money and U.S. financial institutions.
And as you can see behind me, there's a brown RV, and it actually says FEMA written on the side of it. And as CNN reported, this facility in particular can hold 1,000 illegals in detention cells inside of it. And there's no doubt that other facilities such as this one can be built across the U.S. to hold American citizens during a government-declared emergency such as an economic collapse.
It is 55,000 square feet that is separated into 4 different pods, and they're expected to hold up to 1,000 kids at 72-hour increments at a time and release them by bus into different parts of the country. They have a health facility. They have a DFAC, a dining facility. All this stuff is inside here right now. And behind me, too, if you see, there's a brown bus. It is a giant FEMA bus. Here comes more and more politicians out of this brand new facility in McAllen, Texas, where they've been meeting and coming up with ways to help the Obama administration import poverty into our country.
Meanwhile, Readiness Exercise 1984, or Rex 84 as it's known, the brainchild of Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North and the modus operandi of the Bush-Cheney administration, plays out. As the flow of more gang and cartel activities increase in the U.S., so does the possibility of our government seizing totalitarian control. The plan also authorizes the military to direct ordered movements of civilian populations at state and regional levels. From 2008 to 2012, 143,000 illegal alien criminals have been arrested in Texas. The state of Texas estimates that 100,000 gang members are here illegally. The need for a force multiplier on the border appears to be a rational course of action by Texas Governor Rick Perry. However,
I was invited by a person to go to a Bilderberg meeting, and I found it to be an interesting group of people.
The slippery slope towards martial law gains traction when Bilderberg attendee Governor Rick Perry speaks cordially with President Obama 2 days after receiving a letter from President Obama's handler, Valerie Jarrett. The Rex 84 playbook thrives on the possibility of a well-orchestrated maneuver between state and federal entities, whether both parties are aware or not.
INFOWARS attempted to visit the BCFS headquarters in Harlingen this afternoon to talk to their public information officer about its recent plan to buy the Palm Air Hotel and Suites in Weslaco, Texas, which was going to be used to house illegal aliens. No doubt this show of force is in response to the severe backlash BCFS received after the alternative media broke the news about the proposed hotel purchase, which the company now claims it is no longer pursuing.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and cancel your reservation. I don't want to have any more negative stuff in the media.
What do you mean?
I Googled that InfoWars website and I saw you already posted a blog on it. So I'm tired of the media. I just don't want anything to do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and refuse services.
You're canceling the reservation then?
That is correct.
The BCFS, which also manages the shelter housing 2,000 illegal immigrant youth on Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, began as an orphanage in 1944, but has since emerged as a global network for companies which work for various federal agencies such as FEMA in response to government-declared emergencies. And other so-called religious charities are also profiting from the current border collapse. There's no doubt that this pampering of illegal aliens will only encourage more to risk their lives traveling thousands of miles to the U.S. All right, right now we're on the edge of the Rio Bravo River where we found a pair of shoes right up here. Now, if you come over here and take a look down, the illegals swim across that side of the embankment and they come over here to this area and they use it as a way to climb up to freedom, to be a dreamer, to be a part of Obama's new war on our country. Now, if you come over this way right now, you can see the feet marks that come across where they try to run all the way into the fields and onto a main highway where they possibly get picked up by someone over here and then they ship them off to different parts unknown in the country. All right, I'm right here with Kit Daniels from InfoWars. He's one of our writers. Now tell me what it is that you've seen since we've been out here the past 24 hours.
I've seen a lot of blankets, a lot of shoes, a lot of biohazardous material. This is a heavily crossed area for immigrants.
Now, do you think this is one of the main spots, though? Like you said, you saw a blanket over there. They're more than likely smuggling things across over here and probably getting picked up by someone, don't you think?
Absolutely. We've seen so many vehicles like SUVs driving out of this area. It's obvious that there's coyotes running through here and picking people up and trafficking them further into the United States if they don't even surrender to the Border Patrol. In which even if they do surrender to the Border Patrol, they're just going to get 3 hots in a cot.
I'm Joe Biggs with Kit Daniels signing off for INFOWARS.com at the edge of the last bit of America still standing.
And that just goes to prove what Alex Jones has been telling you for the past 15 plus years. FEMA camps in the United States of America, they're not just coming, they're here, they are very real. And if you want to help us get this message out far and wide, consider becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. You can get a 15-day free trial, the Alex Jones Show, the nightly news, the special reports, the rants, it's all right there at PrisonPlanet.tv. Well, that's it for this edition of the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson, and stay tuned because, as promised, Paul Joseph Watson on the Savage Nation. We'll see you again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central.
You've experienced and heard about the benefits of Super Male Vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.
By the way, I wonder whatever happened to tell Vladimir I'll be flexible if I'm reelected. What about the old reset button? Don't we realize this is an old KGB apparatchik that is hell-bent on restoring what he believes is the Russian Empire?
That's so brilliant. You know, John McCain, he should get a Nobel Prize because the context of that is so brilliant. And I've never heard the phrase old KGB apparatchik at least in 10 minutes. And all we hear is that he wants to restore the old Russian Empire. You know what, John? I, Michael Savage, wish we had a nationalistic leader to restore the old American empire, John. Instead of seeing it melted down with the help from you by melting our borders with Mexico, John. But let's go back to the shoot-down of MH17 and who did it. We don't know who did it. We assume that Russia did it because that's what the government media complex has told us. They don't know whether that's true or not. But that fits the narrative of evil Russia and good Ukrainians. But the question is being raised by some in the media who are actually doing their jobs, mainly Paul Joseph Watson of InfoWars. He is asking, well, let him ask it himself. I don't want to have him repeat what I'm going to tell you he already wrote. I thought it was pretty interesting. Paul Joseph Watson of InfoWars, thanks for joining us again on the Savage Nation.
Hi, Michael. Good to be back.
So what is it you're saying that Kiev will not release? What will the Ukrainians not release?
They will not release the air traffic control tapes in communication with the Malaysian Airlines flight. We know that the first Malaysian Airlines flight that went missing back in March, the transcripts of those air traffic control communications were released within 3 days. Yet what happened in this case was that within hours of the downing of Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, Ukraine security services went to the air control towers, seized the traffic control tapes, and we've heard nothing of them since. So obviously you've got Russia coming out with radar images suggesting that this flight was being tracked by Ukrainian jet fighters. If that's not the case, then Ukraine needs to release these air traffic control tapes because they will prove their narrative. They seem to be having a lot of difficulty proving the narrative coming out of Kiev and Washington because most of their evidence is based on YouTube videos uploaded by the Ukrainian government and dubious Facebook posts from so-called rebel commanders that have already been debunked. So all I'm saying is show us the evidence that backs up your narrative behind this shootdown.
Well, look, on the face of it, using logic, Russia has nothing to gain and everything to lose by having downed a commercial airliner. Okay, let's start with that. Right now, world opinion has shifted to the poor Ukrainians. And we learned from our UN ambassador, Samantha Power, that her entire knowledge of the situation is based upon Facebook and YouTube postings. They don't know what the hell is going on. You and I both know it's about the natural gas and squeezing off the Russian cash flow. Wouldn't you agree with that?
It is, exactly. In the larger context, of course, this shootdown happened literally the day after the BRICS nations came out and announced their anti-IMF, anti-dollar system, which, of course, represents a major threat to the unipolar world system the New World Order being pushed by the likes of NATO and the Obama administration. But you mentioned, again, Samantha